All right. Just because I got a lot of these to do today, and then I have some other stuff I got to take care of too. So I want to try to blow through these quickly, but I don't want to make noise. That's fine. You don't have to make noise. You can just type. You can just type. Why don't you go ahead and share screen? We'll hop in and we'll take a look. So go ahead and I read a good portion of what you said, so I want to address a couple of the things in what you said first. So let me actually click into that because I think it was in Jumpstart, right? Or all player help, I think. Right? Yes. Okay. So you asked if that video was relevant. I had to watch the video, obviously, to see if it was relevant because how long ago I made it. And yeah, if anything, I'd say it's more relevant because back then it was actually costing me gold to do what I was doing to get those 1490s, whereas now I can get it for free. But with that, I want to make a massive caveat, and that's something I don't think that a lot of these players understand when they watch my videos, especially the newer players, which is something that the Koreans didn't explain to us when we got the game, was that they didn't make, 20 alts in a single week, or they didn't make 20 alts in a single month, that they had the game for 2 to 3 years before we did and developed it over 2 to 3 years. And in that exact same coin, I call it respecting the natural order, meaning, not leveling, and it's kind of what you referenced in that message was how many is too many before it starts hurting my progress. And that's actually, everybody has great questions, but that hands down has to be one of the best questions that has been asked in this regard when they're asking about making alts, because that's 100% the truth. There's a lot of people who did basically the people who got burnt out, the people who quit, the people who tried doing what the Koreans did but then didn't make it to the finish line, were the people like that, the people who essentially they bit off too much, more than they could chew, too fast, and it caught up with them pretty quickly, and it actually hurt their account's progression. So that's why often what you're seeing, like right now, I went for 6 1540s, which cost me about 70k gold a character, plus the gearing cost, right? Which really isn't that bad for me because I play so many characters. It's a self-sufficient roster, right? But and that was where I stopped. I actually ended up redoing the math. Apparently I could have gotten 12 1540s, but I'm very happy that I stopped at 6, right? Because it cost me gold. Now, everyone's always like, oh, you should just wait until it costs silver. Yeah, fundamentally, that is also the best option, right, at the end of the day. But if I had done that, I would have ended up waiting, I think it was like 5 to 6 months extra to get the 1490s back when I did that. And if I had done it this time, we don't know when we're going to get 1540 for silver. And granted, it could be right around the corner for all we know. But either way, I did it. My last 1540 was last week, and I have one more, which I'll probably be able to do this week or next week, which means that I'll have minimum 3-4 months until we get the Thamine. They're not going to give us a 1540 for free for silver if they haven't even given it to the Koreans yet, right? So we have up until Thamine, which means I probably have about 6 months to 8 months where those characters are still getting their value back. So overall, let's sum that up. Yes, it still has a ton of value. It's actually more value now if what you're talking about is 1490. 2, it can hurt your account if you try to make 20 of them right now, but I actually want to throw another caveat there that if you're a spender, maybe not, because we're actually at a stage of the game where I believe that dollar value is like higher than it was when we got the game. So like back in the day, people would spend, $10,000-$20,000 just to have 1-2 characters Argos ready. But now you can get a whole roster Vaultin ready for probably a couple $100. And I'm not trying to say that you should spend money. That's not what I'm advocating. I'm saying that if you are a spender, there's an efficient way to spend money. Let's go see what you said. I'm a spender, yeah, not down on it. No, most people are. Like, here's the thing. If you're enjoying a game over a long period of time, and you're planning on enjoying a game over a long period of time, I don't see the problem with spending. Like, I actually don't have a big pet peeve with it. And everybody who tries to say that they don't spend is usually a spender in some way, and they just don't want to own it or admit it. But I'm just trying to cover, like, a baseline, right? Essentially. And that is, if you're going to spend, then there's an efficient way to spend. Like, if you're somebody, like, can I see your roster real quick? Can you flash your character select? You don't have to go to the character select page. Just hit escape and then show the, like, what you got going. Okay, so you're actually, so this is, see, I was thinking you're a newer player. You're at a place where I wouldn't buy legendary skins for all those characters. I would maybe get a legendary skin for your sorceress. And the reason I'm saying this is not because I want to talk about legendary skins, but because I'm talking about spending. Efficiently spending on your roster, from the looks of it, has, like, not a lot to do for you at the top end. Meaning, like, you're not, like, if you go into the cash shop, you're not good buying 1580 materials, like prime arrays and shit like that. It's just a shit value. It really is. It always has been. That's why they were spending 10 to 20 grand back when to get what they wanted. It is a terrible value to buy anything for your main character, usually, except for, caveat, legendary skin right now. I would get the legendary skin if you're going to be spending money. That would probably be one of my top priorities on the Sork. But What isn't a top priority is buying the Sork mats, buying gold. If you're, like me, you're working 80 to 110 hours a week, then buying gold is definitely something you can consider because you have zero fucking playtime you're going to be putting in, so you're getting your raids done is pretty unlikely, right? Now, you said something else in that comment, and I didn't fully understand it, but it was something about your 6 gold earners, and I didn't know if what I was reading was you don't want to do your 6 gold earners anymore, because if that's the case, I'm not doing my 6 gold earners anymore. I'm doing my 6 akkans every week, and then after that, if I do any other gold earners, it's because I fucking felt up to it. That's it. And I've been able to maintain that relatively well, and that's because I have videos on this, and there's actually a guy who made a video a while back. I think his name's Baker. I finally rewatched one of his videos and saw that I think that's the guy. He made a spreadsheet on, a very good spreadsheet, and it basically talked about where the gold value comes from on your account. And he only did 7 Chaos Dungeons in a week, so he doesn't even fully understand the gravity of it. And this was also before we got the update, the daily change update. He did 7 Chaos Dungeons a week, and what he found was that Chaos Dungeons gave him 40% of his gold, and raids gave him 30% of his gold value right on his account. And there's a few fundamental variables that he missed there. Was one, which is time, which is what I always talk about, the time value, right? Raids can take you much longer, significantly longer than dailies do, for one. And then two, the other factor that he's missing, because it's only been added after he made the video, is we got the daily change. So Chaos Dungeons no longer take you 5 minutes. They take you about 2 to 3 minutes a piece, which means you can bang out 2 of them in the time frame that I did a lot of those videos on. A lot of my videos assume that each Chaos Dungeon is going to take you, 7.5 minutes. 2 Chaos Dungeons together will take you 15 minutes. So almost all of the math I've ever done in those videos for efficiency is basing it on a character taking you 15 minutes to complete, 30 minutes if you're doing the Guardian. Since that has all been dramatically reduced, I'd have to actually redo the video to come up with an appropriate mathematical equation. But raids get stomped now, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like, raids are so, for gold, raids are so fucking far off the bar, it's not even funny. Like, the only reason you're doing raids, which is ideally what a game should have raids for, is to get your set bonuses, is to get that like special bone or wardrobe that comes from a select character to help you progress in the game. And that's it. And then usually you shouldn't have to do your raids unless you want to, right? And obviously we all love the raids and we want to do the raids, but if you can't fucking do them 1 week, you can't do them. So, to say in sum, let's go ahead and read your chat so I'm not falling off. Yeah, I bought a Sork Scrapper and Paladin Legendary skin. See, so I would actually argue that the Scrapper and the Paladin Legendary skins were too soon. Because right now, and it's not saying you can't buy them eventually, it's saying that same dollar bill that you put into those, you probably could have put into secondary characters to bring your overall roster more value. And essentially, that's kind of why I've always been ahead. And I'm going to brag a lot. That's kind of what I do. You've seen some of my videos, and you've probably seen that. But when I brag, it's not just to feed my own ego, it's also to make a statement that's relatively important. So, and I'm sure in all 4 vids I bragged. But the point is that why I ended up ahead of a lot of people was a lot of people were putting value into things way before they really needed to do it. And actually, we're coming up on an update with elixirs, where I've actually made that same argument not only in the podcast, but a couple of my videos. A lot of people think that elixirs are going to be the big end-all, be-all. You got to get it immediately. If it's a new system, a new vertical system, then that is just fundamentally flawed fucking logic. The same with this new transcendent system that we're getting with Damien. If it is a new vertical system, that means that the ceiling that they're going to give us is probably higher than where they're starting, i.e. legendary and purples, right? Which means that it's probably not the best idea to try to rush it. It's something that you should be waiting and taking your time to do. Will there be money to be made in it? Maybe. We just found out recently that there's only 5, I'm not even going to get into this, but there's a limit of 5, elixirs every week that you can do, or 6 or something like that. But the point is that it's that concept again. It's doing something before you necessarily need to do it. And actually, I didn't really read all of that. I need to read the rest of that. Yeah, fuck that 6 gold owner. This is getting boring. Exactly. So I'm happy that you said that, because that's how I felt for a long time. And it's not necessarily that it's getting boring. It's that, there's a lot of complications that come with raids. And even when I had a static, I had a good static for the most part. And we did clear shit pretty quickly. And the lower end content, we cleared even faster, right? Like when we were doing things like Vicuses and Clowns. The trains is what we called it. We'd run through it fast. Those cleared pretty quick. They weren't that bad, but it didn't matter. At the end of the day, I always still felt like the Chaos Dungeons were just better. You just got better value for it, and it's something that you don't really need to be reliant on other players. And when I say better value, I don't even just mean in gold. It's already proved that it's bringing you better gold. It's also just bringing you more jewelry, stones, and every other aspect of the game. It's just genuinely flooding your account with resources that a raid doesn't flood your account with. The raid floods your character with resources. And that's where I would argue if you have a main character like your Sork, you probably should be doing all of your raids on the Sork. If you care about the Sork's progression from 1580 upward, you should be doing your hard Kyangal and your hard Akkan every week. Every week. Notice how I didn't mention Brel there, because Brel is the old gear, the old tier. So your hard mode Kyangel and hard mode Akkan, I would recommend trying to do almost every single week on the Sork, because it's giving you materials that are relevant to your progression on that character. You're typing, so I'm going to wait, and I want to play almost every class like you mentioned. I want to treat each alt as a main, so far. Okay, so here's the big thing you need to understand is that, first off, not every alt's going to be a main. Right, not for a while. Like, it took me a year and a half to get to a point where my entire roster was basically geared. I think I have, and you guys don't see a lot of the legwork that I put in, because I would just be uploading ridiculous amounts of raw footage, right? But some of the legwork that I've been putting in is every single day, because we have a 20 trade limit. I'm gonna read that in a second, but first I want to address this. Every day, because we have a 20 trade limit, I send myself, right now I've been doing stones. I was doing jewelry too, but now I'm like, you know what, I gotta get the stone 7/7 crack before I can start trying to get these characters out. So what I've been doing, the last like month and a half, maybe longer, since we got the Theon change, I've been sending every single day. Even if I can't get on, I'll get on for the 10 minutes to 20 minutes that it takes for me to sign into my main characters, or any characters that I've ridiculous stuff farmed, that I've just been saving stones and stuff on, and I send those 20 stones to different characters that need them. I would love to actually hop in the game and show you, but I'm not going to do that. But basically, like, the artist right now, because I still need a 7/7 stone to give her a 5/3, although she doesn't need it, like, she already has her full Kyangel set, let's be real, but because, like her, I've been doing it for the Sork. Sork is my newest 1490, right? So what have I been doing? I've been jumping on all my main characters every single day, and with her, in addition to like the gun lance and everything, I've been sending her Adrenaline Keen Blunt stones. I've been sending her, what else? Keen Blunt All Attack stone. You know, all the stones that would be relevant to her. I've been jumping on my main, whatever characters have stones in their storage, and I've been sending them to her every day. And I'm prepping basically for a big stone crack. Two things. One, each stone I think is tradable twice. I'm pretty sure are tradable once. I don't know. That might actually be false. But there's a big massive issue here with what I'm doing is, one, that I should start cracking them, because if I end up hitting the 7/7 sooner, then I kind of fuck myself, right? And two, the second thing that I want to say to this is that by doing this, I'm not spending any fions, right? So there's a positive and a negative. The negative is that if I end up hitting 7/7 quickly, a lot of those stones are going to end up being dead. But the positive here is that I'm not spending fions, I'm not spending gold, and again, I'm respecting the natural order. I'm not trying to gear them quicker than they need to be. So back to what you said, you want to play all the characters. Two things. If you really wanted to do it quickly, and I don't fully recommend this because of the legwork that you have to actually put in to do this, right? And there's a couple of people that will give you some other shit that just doesn't apply to everybody. They'll be like, oh, go buy a second account or something, or go get a second account from a quick friend. It's true what a lot of these other guys are going to tell you to do, but the problem with that is that it just doesn't apply to everybody, so I usually don't like giving advice that just doesn't apply to most people, right? Most people want to jump on a one Steam account, they want to play the game, not work a job, right? So, with that being said, if you wanted to do this, and you wanted to do it quickly, making multiple accounts right now, considering each account's going to give you a 1540 power pass, you could probably have 24 accounts and have 24 different characters. Like, let's be realistic. You really could. You could just have that. And you would have a character almost at the end game on every single one. And then you take all of the resources from the events and stuff, and you always funnel it into one character. Now, mind you, one character, one roster has its own challenges, right? Like every time an event comes around, you have to play kind of religiously if you're going to get all the event materials and stuff like that. So I don't recommend that. I actually recommend doing kind of what you're already doing, which is respecting the natural order, leveling things up. I'm going to read that next question in a second. I want to go back to looking at your screen. I actually recommend respecting the natural order. We actually got somebody that joined. That's cool. Respecting the natural order. And what that means is that you just got to express power pass. Who did you use this express power pass on? Any of them. Did you use it on any of these characters? Alright. This is the part that's going to be hard. I got to keep going back and forth. Yeah, on the Slayer. Okay, so let's see where the Slayer is at. 1550? Is that Slayer? Alright, so that's not bad. That's actually huge. So you took advantage of it. And that's basically what I've done since the beginning of the game. The very first time I ever did it, I think was the Glavier. They gave us a Phaeton power pass, and that to you seems like a joke, but to us back then it was massive. It was the end game for us, basically. And then next we got a power pass for Punica, and then we got another power pass, and then we finally started getting the express passes. And something that I never did, right, up until Artist, was I never used it, and actually I think it was Reaper. I never used it on a character that I wasn't already grinding materials on. So like the next pass we're gonna get, go to your roster again. If we get another 1540 pass, I would not want you using it on your paladin. I would not want you using it on your artillerist. I would not want you using it. Actually, the scouter's in that range where you would probably want to use it. Actually, he's the character I'd probably end up using it on, to be honest, because he's in the midway point where you're gonna get a shit ton of value out of it for him, and then at the exact same time, be able to progress him towards the top of it. So let me reword that, because actually I don't fully stand by actually what I just said to you. So like if the bottom line of the express mission that they give you was like 1460, I would actually use it on the 1460 striker. Get him the first two. Can you go to the express pass? Do you have it open still on her, or is it completed and you can't see it? You can't see it, huh? Go to event quest. Can you see like the chart? Like, I actually have a video on it. I basically have a video going way back about how I use the express mission. Yeah, okay, this. So basically, go to the original tier, like the first one. The first cube on it. No, the first, like, milestone on it. Just hit yes. That's not going to let you hit no. Go to the first cube. So what eye level was the first cube? 14, 15, I think. Exactly. So what I would actually do, and that doesn't necessarily mean you need to do this, is that everything 1490 and under uses those materials that are in those bags, right? So I would ideally use it on a character that can actually get a use out of it. So like a 1460 would be perfect. So you would use it on a 1460 character, you would level that 1460 character up to 1490, and then you would transfer right before you're about to hit 1490. Remember what I'm saying. Right before you're about to hit 1490, so go to the third tier in, I think it's 1490, the third branch. No, go back to that. No, go back to that. The third branch, wherever 1490 is, go to the third, that one. That one, right? So I wouldn't collect that one. I would go to the one just before that. So you would put it on a 1460 character. You would get the 1460 character up to 1489 or 1485 or whatever the fuck it ends up being. And then you would swap this pass. See how it says change event character right there? You would swap this pass to a 1490 character, and then all the rest of the pass would be finished on the 1490 character. What that's allowing you to do is it's allowing you to give a boost to the bottom half of your roster, right, respecting the natural order. That 1460 now has a shit ton of materials and can get another 1490 online, and at the exact same time, you're now taking a 1490 because you're transferring the pass to a 1490, and you're going to allow them to ride out the rest of the wave with the pass. Now, if you look at 1490, go to the 1490 reward. The 1490 reward, I'm sure, go to the materials that it gives you, I'm sure are the next tier of materials. Yeah, see, they're obliteration stones. They're the 1490 tier of materials. So that's essentially what you want to try to do, is you want to use everything that they give you. You're basically milking it. And that's why when people are always saying to me, like, oh, that's so dumb, you're losing value. And it's like, okay, but if you don't use these express passes, then you get nothing out of it. So, like, you take a look at my roster. Actually, even your roster now. If you have all characters above 1540, then you couldn't even use this if you didn't use it on a secondary character. In my case, I have all 1580s at my top 6, right? So if I don't use these types of passes and stuff on my lower half characters, then I don't use it at all, which means it's just a dead waste, and that just doesn't make any sense considering if you think about the time and the effort that you put into progressing a main character is almost 10 times the effort that you would get using something like this. So like my original characters going up to 1540 was a fucking climb, a mountain for me, right? For everybody. This is doing that same exact thing, but in a fraction of the time and the cost and giving you the materials. Why the fuck wouldn't you use it? It's just fundamentally flawed logic when somebody's like, oh, all these alts. No, sorry, it's just, this is something you want to use. So I don't know if that all clicked and made sense. I know I'm going very fast, but I'm also going to be uploading this so you can rewatch it, I guess. But now, with those two things being covered, let's actually set you some personalized goals so I can move on to the next person. Let's go take a look at your stuff. Now that we know what you want, we know that you don't really care about the goals farming. Keep in mind that if you're playing the game, I guess it's a good question. How many hours a week are you putting towards the game? You can just flash your Steam real quick. I don't know if you know how to do that. No, like flash your Steam. So like you'll not sign out of this, but you'll like click the Steam. Unless you're like streaming game. Like on your computer apps. Oh, okay. So you have 2,900 hours. Can I be honest with you? For what you have at 2,900 hours, this is relatively impressive. Like, relatively impressive. For only having 3,000 hours, I'm very impressed with what you have for a roster, first off. Second off, how many hours a week can you put into the game? Or not can you put in like it's a job, but how many hours do you put in? Like, what's your ideal playtime? Do you only want to play 5 hours? Because if you only want to play 5 hours, then that's going to change everything compared to if you want to play 20 hours. You bought packs. Okay, yeah, I mean, I kind of assumed that you were spending money, because otherwise, how the hell would you even get this point, right? But you play around 5 to 7 hours a week. Okay, so on Friday and Saturday, I play about 10 hours. You play 5, 7 hours a day or a week? Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Can you see that being consistent for the next, like, 6 months? Because if that's the case, man, I have a plan for you. And boy, are you going to fucking... Wow. All right. So I'm not going to do the math off that, because if I'm being completely honest, if I did 5 hours a day times 5, that's 25. That's like 35 hours. Actually, that's kind of what a lot of elite players play. Like, a lot of serious players play, right? So Friday and Saturday you play 10 hours. 10 hours each day, or 10 hours altogether? All right, I love you. I love how honest you're being. All right, so that you have no idea what you can accomplish with what you have for playtime. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 20 hours for the weekend, and then we're just going to sum up the rest of it to 20 hours. We're not going to give you the 25 to 30 that you're actually playing in the week. We're just going to say 20 and 20. That's a 40-hour week. You can easily accomplish some great shit. So here's what we're going to talk about. Now go back to your character select screen. Because of what we've discussed, do you care about having more than one character at the top range? Like, do you want to have, like, 6 1580s? I guess that's the first thing we have to discuss. Which, for the record, won't happen within the next couple of months, based on your roster. Or it could, actually. If you spend money and you put your money in certain places, I actually could help you do that. Which would be fun, because you'd be making a spender plan. Yep, if that's possible. Okay. So, to tackle this, remember that thing that we talked about to progress a character? That you kind of need to be doing the content that's relevant to them? So you don't want to do raids on all these characters. Can you pick six characters? You need to now. If this is what you really want, you need to pick 6 characters that you're going to focus on. So we have the Sork. That's 1. We've already talked about it. You need to be doing... She's a 10-hour-a-week character. So 10 of your 40 hours has to go towards her. Undoubtedly, undeniably, has to go towards her. And if you get it done quicker, that's fine. But in that 10 hours, if you end up getting it done faster... That means that you've already done your Kyangel hard, you've done your Khan hard, and you've done her Chaos Dungeons and her Guardians relatively religiously. Okay? It doesn't need to be unrested. You can capitalize rest. That's literally what I preach. So you want the Deathblade? You're not going to pick characters that are beneath 1,500, are you? Because that's going to hurt a little bit. But hey, it's not going to hurt a lot of it. It's just like that's easily a 4 to 5 week farm time just to get the set. And it's okay. You pick whoever you want. I'm not trying to discourage you from picking something, so. But I guess, like, circle something. Circle some things. So circle the Sork. That's 1, right? The Scrapper's another, based on what you told me. Or just type it. Fuck this. Type the 6 characters that you want. Don't say which characters do I need to pick. Because whatever characters you pick, basically what I'm giving you right now is a breakdown of your playtime. I'm gonna basically break down where you should be allocating your time each week to accomplish kind of the goal that you want to accomplish. Alright, well, you type that out. I'm gonna... I think I'm gonna have to do some of these via text, which is gonna suck today. It just takes so much longer to do it with text. Let's go ahead and take a look. Scrap Slayer, Artie, Scouter, Pal, Deathblade. Scrap Slayer, Artie, Scouter, Pal, Deathblade. Scrap Slayer, Artie, Scouter, Pal, Deathblade. How come the Sork's not in that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you scrapping the Sork? Am I missing something? Are you gonna stop playing the Sork? Because that's gonna hurt. Oh, okay, you want 6 more 1580s. Okay. We're setting the bar a little high here, but I want you to understand that this goal that you're setting is easily 6 months out, though. Easily, maybe more. Okay, so the Deathblade's out. Yeah, just because I'm trying to be realistic here. And that's not that it's not realistic. It's just it's a lot harder of a challenge than you think. And now, assuming all of these characters already have gear, right? They already have a 5/3, at least level 6 or 7 gems. 7s really, because we're at that stage, but. And again, it's not that you need 7s. 5x3 plus 1 is huge for the record if you don't have like 8s and 9s. It's not that 7s aren't enough or 6s aren't enough for some of the content. It's that we're at a point where the player base just will not accept less than 7s, right? So, I mean, even me at the top end, like I'm getting denied shit with like 8s and 9s, which is just crazy. But so I can't wait to see how Voldace goes. All right, let's take a look. So, we had the Sork, Scrap, Slayer, Pally, Artie, Scouter. Am I missing one? Pally, Scrap, okay. Okay. So, let's take a look at this. I would argue you're doing part of my pet peeves. Let's start flipping around on some of these characters. Show me what her bound materials look like. That's first. Because it's looking like you're in a farm phase. And by what I mean by farm phase is like you really shouldn't be honing. Because there's just no benefits that you're going to get from it. They're bound materials. Basically, you're gonna go into their inventory and show me what they have for material. Oh my god. You are like every one of my pet peeves right now. Why is this so blurry? Hold up 1 second. Just trying to... Nope, don't want to do that. There we go. Not really. It's like blurring the shit out of the top end for some reason. Okay. So you only have 150 stones. Stop honing her. That's my first piece of advice is stop honing this character right now. For the next 2 weeks, you're just farming on this character. That's it. You don't hone her. You just farm. And here's why. I want you to go to the content screen. Right? The little archway. Where you look at your raids and you look at your dailies and you look at all your stuff. The little archway. Top right. No, not that. I want you to actually pull up the... Nope. Yep. Over there. To the right. To the right. The archway. Yes, that. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Click into Chaos Dungeons. We're going to click into each one of these. So let me preface that. What do you get for getting to 1560? As a matter of fact, what did you get for getting to 1550 in the screen? Nothing, right? What do you get for getting to 1560? You get a Chaos Dungeon. Scroll down. No, stop it. Yes, that's what you get. 1560. Okay? So you get one piece of content. That's great. Go and hit the X now. Go back to that other screen. No, go back to the other screen where you show all the content. Go to the Guardian raids. No. Go to the Guardian raids. What did you get for 1550? Nothing. Right? What do you get for 1560? Nothing. So you got nothing. For this little range right here that you're doing this, you got nothing. Go back to the content screen. And this is something about respecting the natural order I try to tell everybody too. This is why you shouldn't do this. Why is this just fundamentally not looking good? Hold up 1 second. I'm trying to fix something because it's just not. Oh man, of course that had to pop up in there. Okay, there we go. It's a little better. Trying to just keep things running smooth. Okay, so go into your Abyssal Dungeon. Go ahead to Kyango. What did you get for 1550? Nothing. You seeing a repetitive pattern here? What did you get for 1560? Nothing. Okay, go back to the character screen. Or back to the, yeah. No, go back to that. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Fuck. Go to the Legion raids. Not that one. The other Legion raid. Same concept. What did you get for 1550? Go to hard mode. Actually, you did get something for 1550 here. You got, yeah, and you did get something for 1560. But, can I be completely honest with you? All the gold's front-loaded in this. It's not worth it. So, all you got, this is what I was trying to get to eventually. All you got for the cost of getting from 1540 to 1560 was a Chaos Dungeon. In 1550, you got even less. All you got was one gate. You got one gate on Brel. If you're collecting the chest, it's like 1k gold. If you're not collecting the chest, it's like 2k gold. In that same time, do you think that you could have just done a bunch of Chaos Dungeons and got more value out of an alt? The answer is yes. It's a rhetorical question. So you spent money, gold, again, that same thing that we talked about with the legendary skins. You took value, my biggest pet peeve in this game, you took value that you could have put into an alt and got actual resources out of it now, and you put it into something that you're getting nothing out of. Essentially nothing, right? Because I don't want to say nothing. Does that make sense? No, nobody thinks of that. And that's why everybody hates my videos. Or not everybody, but a lot of people hate my videos. It's because they're like, why are you stopping us there? It doesn't make any sense. And it's because of shit like this. Like, what are you really getting out of it? 1550 to 1560 and 1570 even is one of the most dead ranges that we have in this game at the top end that I've ever seen, actually. And there's been other dead ranges. There was one in Tier 2. I don't remember what it was because they've changed it now. But there's been multiple dead ranges like this that we've had where people will level into that dead range, not get any rewards or benefits from it, or get very small amounts of benefit from it, and then justify it. So what you could have done instead, let's take a look at your character selection screen again. Because you did this twice, actually, which is horrifying, is instead of getting this character to 1550 and this character to 1550, is you probably could have already had your artillerist and your scouter to 1540, which would have brought your account, because of your overall goals, would have brought your account way more value. Now, those two characters are set back maybe a week to 2 weeks more farming because you decided to put that value that you could have put into them a week or 2 weeks ago into the Scrapper and the Slayer. Right now, what I call the 1540 to 1580 range, I call it the longest farm phase we've ever had. And what that means is that's the spot where you should park the character for a while, for genuinely a while, until you get the materials needed to just go straight to 1580. And the reason being is all you're getting, at the best thing that you're getting from it, this is fucked up to say, isn't even the Brel hard mode, the 4 and 5, it used to be 5 and 6, right? Or I don't remember what it used to be, but getting the 3 and 4 now isn't even the best part. The best part of what you're getting by pushing to 50 and 60, or 60 really, is the Chaos Dungeon. That's it. You're getting one piece of content. That's crazy. It's absolutely batshit that people think that's a good idea. You're better off putting your time into an alt, doing a 1445 Chaos Dungeon, getting gems, getting silver, getting materials, and selling the fucking gems. That's actually genuinely a better concept than doing this. So what we're going to do is we're going to backpedal. Or even if you didn't do that, and you just wanted to push the 1540s, that's also fine. So we're going to backpedal. Now that we've established that this is a dead zone, we're going to go to each one of your characters and look at their bound materials. So let's take a look at the Scrapper, because now the best thing that you can do is get these characters out of the fucking dead zone without killing your account. But if you don't have at least 1,000 to 2,000 bound materials on them, no, they're stuck in the dead zone now. And now you've officially wasted those 10 eye levels of farm for nothing. Granted, it's not a big leap. Like, I'm sure they were one taps or something. Like, I'm sure it didn't hurt as much as I'm making it seem like it hurt. But it kind of does hurt. And before we got the 1580 nerfs, no, it was actually a massive fuck up. Like, so I got all of my characters by Hardmore Brel. I had my 6 main characters to 1560. If only I had known what the future had held for us, I wouldn't have done that. Because I probably could have had more 1580 sooner if I didn't do that, right? So that was a massive divot for me, and it hurt really bad. At the time, I had made like a 2 million gold investment and profited 1.9 million on it. So it kind of worked out at the time, but not really, because that gold could have been put into something else. Like, I think it was like a 600,000 gold deficit, not lost, but because I had spent more than I would have needed to spend. Yeah, this character, same concept. You're farming for the next 2 to 3 weeks on her without touching it. And I say 2 to 3 weeks, and I'm being really fucking humble. Like, it might even be like a month or more. But all right, now we're gonna go to the next character. But remember, for the playtime and the progression that you have, you're doing phenomenal. So we're gonna go to the Paladin. Go to the Paladin. Because he's at the 1540 mark that I'm talking about. So we want to see how long, because he's going to be the one that we ideally base the other two's goals off of. How long this character is going to have to sit here. And then those two characters would essentially be able to sit here less time than he sits here. But yeah, your 1580 goal, man, you're like 4 months, 5 months out from having the 1580s that you want to have. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because, again, it took me a year and a half to develop this, and there's 2 massive points in my progression that you'd have to watch all of my videos to see where I had to make massive sacrifices. So one of the massive sacrifices was for Brel normal release, I was not ready. I had 1 character Brel normal ready. I had 1 character clown character ready, and I was preparing for the Brel hard release where I had 6 characters ready for the Brel hard, and it ended up actually being a stupid fucking decision now that I look back at it. Again, he's actually in a better position than they are in some ways, but so just farm. Just farm. You don't tap him, you don't touch him, you just farm on him. Same concept. Go to the next character. Artillerist and then Scouter. We're going to flash through these. Alright? So what ended up happening, though, was I had to sacrifice Kyangil. So all of my characters weren't Kai and Gilhard ready. As a matter of fact, I had 3 characters that were 1580 Kai and Gilhard ready, which actually paid off really well, and it should have only been 1. This is where I fucked up again. And then I slowly got them their full. They all had their full set by a con release, anyways, because normal kind of gave you enough. I even had like the artist had her full Kai and Gil set by the time a con came out too, because it wasn't that bad with normal, right? And then I had 6 1580s at a con. This is where I finally justify my logic again, because having 6 1580s for a con meant that I was getting all the new materials on 6 different characters as a con released. But again, I had to make massive sacrifices throughout my playtime history to do this. So right now, your sacrifice would probably be, if I'm being honest with you, you will not have 6 1580s for Voldice. I can almost guarantee that. But that doesn't mean you can't have 3 1600s for Thameen, or 3 1610s, or 2 1610s. So I don't see you having 6 characters at current content for a year. And that's really hurtful to say, but that's why we're going to give you a plan to attack that I genuinely think maybe you can still tackle this and accomplish this. But keep in mind, I have 2,000 hours of playtime on you, and the most valuable commodity in this game is playtime. It's not money. Okay, I have whale friends, and the whale friends can't keep up with me anymore, because at the end of the day, the playtime is really where it comes out on top. So if they use their playtime inefficiently, or just have less playtime than me, it doesn't matter how much they fucking spend, because at the top end, your money is just not good at the top end. Unless you're the richest of rich, your money doesn't get you anything at the top end of the game. So when you're spending, where like those legendary skins that you put into 2 characters that it's not really relevant on yet, right? Because you don't need that power spike until Voldice, basically. You just don't need it yet. 1 second. You just don't need the power spike until Voldice yet. Essentially would be more valuable. Like, let's say you spent $100. How much did you spend on those legendary skins for those 2 characters? And while you type that out, I'm going to go talk to my wife for a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm sorry. I'm back. I have deliveries and shit coming, so let's take a look at this. Oh, bro, this is not what I wanted to see, though. I did not want to see you have no bound materials on these characters. Fuck. All right, let me think for a second. What did you say? Let's address this legendary skin concept. Don't judge. Yeah, this one is empty. 200 EU. Okay, so you spent $200. Ooh, okay. And that's just on their legendary skins, right? That doesn't include the Sork, because the Sork's legendary skin was justified. So is that 200 with the Sork or without? Are you still there? Hello? 200. It's without 200 for each? Holy shit. Okay. So you're a whale. Which is what I'm learning, which means that you get to attack this game in a different style than anybody else. Remember that. I have 2 whale friends that I almost wish they would listen to me more sometimes, because their account would be so much further ahead. We're going to take a look at the cash shop. Your video is probably one of the best videos I've done in a while, and it's going to get uploaded separately to the other 2 guys, because this is actually a really good perspective of a player. So go into the cash shop real quick. We're going to take a look at some stuff. So for that $400 that you spent to get them 3% power boost, right? We're not even going to look at the blue crystals. We're going to go to the packages, right? All right, let's take a look at this. And I think, can I dumb down the... I can't dumb that down. Let's just stick with this. I don't even know what these have in them, so this is going to take a second. Yeah, actually, why don't we... Those ones usually are the best. Go to the... No, that's top end. That's top end. Those are always terrible deals. Don't ever buy top end materials. Not yet, at least. We're going to wait like 3 months before they start giving you better prices for that shit. They're just not. Go ahead and click into that, and I'll show you why these aren't good deals. Click into the 5,000 pack. Go to view details. Look at what you're getting. Do you think 2,000 reds is going to get you that far? Do you think that 160 radiant leap stones is going to get you that far for 5,000 for 50, 60 bucks? No, it's not going to get you far at all. These are horrible deals. These are fundamentally horrible deals for your account's total overall progression. Now we're going to go into the 4,500 pack, because this is where your deal would actually be better. Okay. So in this case, for 4,500, for almost the same cost, you're getting 12 times 225. It's like 250. It's like 300 stones, I think. Right? 300. Is it 320? Or is it more? Yeah, I think it's about 300 stones. Right? That 300 stones, those 300 marvelous stones on a secondary character is going to get you far more progression than on those main characters for the primes and stuff like that. Because the top end stuff is just more expensive than the low end stuff. So you getting something like this for the $200 is what we're going to break it down. Can you go to your buy royal crystals thing? Because I got to see kind of what you would have gotten for your $400. No, the buy royal crystals. Just click the thing so I can see your packs. No. All the way bottom left. Bottom left. Bottom left. Yes, I just want to see your pack prices. Okay, so that's about $100 to you. Is that what that means? When you said you spent 400, does it mean 4 of those technically? Is that like the equivalent? Yes. Okay, cool. So now click out of that because I needed to have an idea. So you got 48,000 royal crystals. So we're basically what we're doing is we're breaking this down. I need a notepad or something. Like I can't keep doing all this shit in my head. I'm trying here, but I got like 5 hours, right? So I'm tired, but the gains are more important. Okay, so we're gonna bring this up. As a matter of fact, can I stream this concept? Let's see. All right, yeah, that works. Yeah, that works. Okay. So let's take a look. So we have 4 12K packs, which is 48,000 royal crystals, right? So click out of that, and now we're gonna break it up. That's basically what we're gonna be doing. No, I didn't say buy it. Stop it. That's not what you're fucking savage. That's not what I wanted you to do. We need to take a look at some of these packs. That's what we're gonna do. So let's look at the cheaper packs first. What you fundamentally need on these characters, it looked like, is everything. You had 0 bound materials. Can we go take a look at that last character actually before we look at this real quick? I think it was the Scouter. Like, you have nothing. You literally have no materials on this character, which means that you would have to whale it completely. Now, granted, we're going to get back around full circle to what you're going to be doing grind-wise and playtime-wise as well. But I want to show you the value you could have gotten out of the $400 you put into legendary skins, essentially. Right now. Like, instant value versus value that you don't need for the next 5 months, basically. Because if those characters that you just got the legendary skins on don't get to a con in the next 4 months, that was $400 over the next 4 months that was dead to you. Just like getting to 1550 or 1560, it was dead value. There was no fucking point in getting it. You would have been better off. Actually, as a matter of fact, go to your currency exchange. I'm curious. I'm actually curious, just for shits and giggles. Go to your currency exchange, bottom right. And I want you to do the $400. I think it'd be 200. Exchange 200. Quantity, do 200. Because it's 50 for 100. Nope, just 200. Just 200, you sicko. 570,000 gold. You could have got yourself on your main 5 level 9s, right? Like, just perspective, right? As a matter of fact, wait a minute, hold up, I don't even know why I'm telling you to go the Royal Crystal route. Let's take that math, because I already know that you're going to get better value out of your market. Take that, go out of that real quick, hit leave, like leave that, exit that screen, go into your auction market, like your actual market. No, your actual market, because I didn't even think about this, but this is actually a way better fundamental truth than what I was just about to say to you. Come on, load. Stop blurring. Now go to your enhancement material. Yeah, exactly. Now let's just say, I forget what the math is. Let me pull up, fuck me, man. This video is going to be a little bit different than some of the other ones. I don't know if the max roll costs are updated, so bear with me. If these aren't updated, this is going to throw our numbers off a little bit. But it's okay. Just give me a couple of seconds. That's all I'm asking for. Just a couple of seconds. I got to do some prep work real quick, and which is pull up the upgrade calculator and shit like that, and I got to set it up for you. So we're not in Akkan materials. You are in Belshazzar materials, and we're trying to get characters. We're gonna say from 1510 or something like that. I think you get, yeah, 1510 all the way up to 1580, which is this. All right. So with that 570, this is terrifying to look at. You need 2.9 million honor shards. That's where you're gonna take the biggest hit. So that's where I would use the Royal Crystal Shop, honestly. Because go look at the honor shard price in here. Nope, go look at it in here. No, don't type it in. Don't do it like this. Don't do that. Just hit all. Just hit all. And then scroll to the next couple pages. It's 5 pages. It's not like we're searching through a book here. Alright, go to the big pouches. 5. Those aren't bad, though. So I just, for shits and giggles, I got to do some rough math. Gonna pull up a calculator real quick. All right, you need 2.9 million, right? So we have 2.9 million honor shards. You're gonna see this later on the video divided by 1,500 because that's per pack. You need 1,933 packs. Can you see how much that would cost you? Granted, this is not what I'm recommending doing because I want to see the overall extreme number. So type in 2,000 basically if you can. Oh, you can't even do that. But either way, look at just for shits and giggles. What do we say? You could get 475,000 gold if you did it like that. If you got royal crystal gold, so let's type that in real quick. If gold, 475k. So you wouldn't even be able to buy the honor shards, which is pretty brutal. But you wouldn't want to buy the honor shards either, right? Like you wouldn't want to buy all of them because in this case, I'm pretty sure. Like, can you do me a favor? Can you go back to your cash shop? I know I have you going all over the place right now for this. Go to the royal crystal or no, sorry, stop. Go back, I'm sorry. Go to the honor shard package. Like they're like 500 royal crystals or something like that. No. They're like 500 royal crystals. They're like honor shard packs. It's like just silver and honor shards. No. They'll be in here. No, stop it. They'll be in here. It could be the next page. Maybe you already bought them. You might have already bought them. No, you didn't already buy them. Where are they? So go back to that. Why do you not have them? They're here, and they're like 500. Oh, those. Wait, no. It's not those. The one next to them. The ones next to them. Nope. You have 10 of them. They're gold. Those 500. Right there. Right to the right. To the right. Right there. Thank you. Those. So now let's see. You get 6 packs per 500 times 5. All right, so hold up. 1,500 times 5 times 6. Yeah, that's 45,000. So now can you go back to the market, and we're going to see basically how many of those are. So you're going to do the same exact thing. 5 times 6 is 30. So you're going to see how many is 30 bags, right? Divided by 30. Should be 1,500, yeah. 17,000. So now you're going to go back to the Royal Crystal Shop. I'm sorry that we're doing this like this. And then go back to those packs. It's 500 Royal Crystals. So I want you to go to your currency exchange. Now I want you to just do 2, because that's 500 Royal Crystals. Yeah, significantly better value. Like, significantly better value than doing it through gold. So when it comes to getting the honor shards you need, here's, fuck, dude, this is such a complex equation that we have to actually do to get this. But basically, we're going to break this down. We need to start breaking it down. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to start making guess numbers because I don't have the time to sit here and do the actual fucking math, right? So we're going to take 12,000 of your royal crystals, and we're going to put it towards honor shards. And what that means is you're going to go back to your shop again, LostArk shop, right? And you would basically buy all of those packs, the 500s, all of those, because it would be 5,000 of your whatever, right? Not those ones. Not those ones, the ones next to them, right? And I'm going to explain to you, yes, those. Those would be, buy all of those. As a matter of fact, buy them right now. I would buy them right now. Fuck your 500 royal crystals and the $400 that you already wasted. Buy all 10 of those right now. All of them. Every single one of them. I'm dead serious. I'm so confident in what I'm telling you to do. I want you to do this before you spend that on something else that you don't need, fundamentally. There you go. Now nope, stop it. Stop it. We don't use things before we need them. We don't use things before we need them, and here's why. Because even if you open all of that stuff right now on either of these two characters, that character still can't make it to 1580, right? They still can't make it to that next threshold. So this is where I say respecting the natural order. You now have these materials. It was a good deal. I'm happy you bought them. You have them. They're always going to be a good deal as of right now, and they probably will be in the foreseeable future. But you want to still use the farm and grind time because we know that this goal that you have is still like a month out no matter what. You use them as you need them, not now. Okay? So, let's take a step back because you are going to use some of them right now, but you're not going to use all of them. Now we want to figure out those other 500 packs. Take another look at that other 500 pack right next to it, the 5. We need to get a cost evaluation on these, on the reds. Nope, on the reds. The reds and the blues. The blues, the blues are automatically out, actually. We're not even going to do an evaluation on those. It's really the reds. So 200 per 5, which is 1,000 per 1 pack, right? So now I need you to go, what did we say? What was the gold cost? It's like 4. Can you go back to the currency exchange and see how much 500 royal crystals gets you in gold? No, 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 2. It'll be 2. Because the purchase, yeah. So 5,600. So now we're going to go to the market, the actual market, the in-game market, and see how much you can get for 6k gold. Nope, stop it. Do all. Stop it. That's fine. This works, I guess, too. No. I do all because it's just, there's only 5 pages. So go to those and type in 5,600 gold worth. So like 2,000, I think, or something like that. Okay, yeah, hit enter. Or not enter, but like see what it takes. Click so we can... Oh, is that it? 5,900. So that's actually not... That's not too bad. Yeah, okay, so the max cost would be 5,994. That's actually a really good close comparison. Like, it's a really good close comparison, I'm not going to lie. Now, go back to that other page. The pack page. Right? In this case, in this example, you were getting 9,999 getting it through the market. Now, go back to that pack, and let's see how many you were getting for that same price. You were getting 5 times... You're getting 1,000 reds. Do you understand why that's fundamentally wrong? Here's the difference. You are getting honor shards with this too, so we do have to add this value in, unfortunately. Can you go take a look at the honor shard pack at the bottom of this? See at the bottom how it says honor shards? It's 1 per 10, right? So we do kind of have to do the math on this. So, can you go back to your market? I'm sorry that we're jumping around a lot. But we just showed that the reds are not worth it. That you're getting 8,000 more reds by doing it through the shop, the market. 10. So that's 5,900. Okay, I need you to go back to the reds real quick and type in 1,000 of the reds. Because that's what you're getting from that pack. So I need to see a total valuation. No, 1,000. So it'd be 100. Because you get them in increments of 10. 600. So that's 6,500. It actually is a good value. Like, those 500 packs are a good value, barely. But here's why. Please listen to me. They're only a good value not because of the reds, but because of the honor shards. So these are a terrible value when it comes to the reds. So why I'm saying this is ratios, right? And this is something I haven't preached in a long time. You don't need 10 billion honor shards. You need a X amount of honor shards and an X amount of reds, which means you should try to buy them in a ratio. In this case, the pack is actually worth it if you need the honor shards. For you, the pack's actually worth it because you're going to need the fucking honor shards on these characters, right? But if you were just short the reds, that pack would not be worth it. Does that make sense? Just mouse up and down or left and right if it doesn't. It makes sense, right? If you only needed reds, that pack is no longer worth it. But because you need the honor shards and stuff, go back to the purchase shop. I would actually recommend, like, if you're going to spend more money, that is something that I would end up getting. So, fundamentally, we're saying that you're spending 12,000 honor royal crystals on shit inside this pack. So I would grab both of those. The other, I need to think for a second. So we're going to minus, because I'm typing things out, 5,000. How much would it be if you got all 5 of those? 2,500 minus 2,500, right? And then you would have left from that 7,500, you would have 5, 7, which is 4, I think. 4,500 or 3,500. 4,500, I think. 4,500. 45, 7, yeah, it's 4,500. So now you would have, we're doing a breakdown on notes that you can't see, or I'm doing a breakdown on notes, so that just keep in mind, I know I'm saying a lot. Now go to the monthly weapon growth support. This is the last pack that we're actually going to take a look at. Nope, that's the one next to the ones we were just talking about. Okay. Alright, so again, the problem that we're running into is going to be the leap concept. So yeah, no, the rest of these packs aren't worth it. I'm going to say it like it is. The rest of these packs aren't worth it, because at this point, all the honor shards you're getting would be coming from those other couple of packs. Or no, they kind of are, because you need the arrays. This is this is why I'm saying this is hard. Like, we'd have to sit here and do this. First, I'm going to just leave it at this. You know how to now do the cost breakdown of what I just talked to you about. So you can do that on your own fucking time. Because this would take me fucking forever if we're going to do this and break down every aspect of every fucking thing. So what we're going to say is we've spent about 7,500 of your 48,000 royal crystals so far, right? And now what we're going to say is that the honor shards that you got from that, I don't actually know how many honor shards you would have gotten from that. So can we take a look at those 2 packs again? Click on that real quick. You got, how many was it? It was 10 per 15, right? Yeah, 10 times 1500, and then each of these came with 6 times 15. Don't click out of this actually for me. Do me a favor. Plus 10 times 1500 was 15,000. And then these came, exactly, yep, these came with 5 per 6, which is fucking 30 bags. So plus 30 times 1500. Oof. 30 times 1500. I'm just fucking up my math. Plus 15,000. You really don't get a lot from this. That can't be right. Like, that's crazy. Hold up. Just stop for a second. 6 bags times 5 each times 1,500. Yeah, you really don't get a lot. You'd only get 60,000 honor shards from this. Holy shit. Like, it's a better deal than not, but holy fuck is it still a terrible deal. Because you need 2 million honor shards. You have to play the game. I actually hate saying this, but, like, I'm realizing how important playtime actually is. Like, for you to make up the deficit with the cash shop, you could, because you spent $400, right? And we've only gone through 7,500 of it. We haven't even gone through a full 100. But, like, you might actually have to buy the rest of these packs. Those are great packs for value, by the way. So those I would buy as well. So we'll go into that. Click into the 3,800 one. And see how many honor shards you get from this. 5 times 2. Oh my god, though. But yeah, the honor shards are brutal. Like, the honor shards are brutal. They're brutal. Now I know why whales can't really keep up. Is because if they're buying this, they're spending thousands of dollars on honor shards alone. You can't whale this. This is basically what I'm getting at. But I will say that your $400 was better suited doing shit like this than what you did. If that makes sense. So I would... I literally, I can do this with you, but, like, to fundamentally break down $400 into the value you should have gotten at it, it's going to take me forever. Like, it's going to take forever, and we're already at a 50-minute video. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Like, that's a lot. With what you just got, you're only getting 60,000 honor shards, which doesn't even make a dent in the million that you need, the 2.9 million honor shards that you need. And I don't know if this is updated. I don't know if Max Roll ever got updated, so it could be less than this now. I hope it's less than this now. Holy fuck, is that brutal. But, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, you do get the majority of your honor shards from farming. Alright, let's take a look at we're going to take a look at 1 or 2 more of the Royal Crystal packs. Because you can kind of already see where, like, those legendary skins that you got aren't as valuable to your account as what you got. I hope you can see that by this point. But, like, it's fundamentally, there's no chance I'm going to be able to break all this down and get to everybody else and go do what I have to do for the day and go eat with my wife. Like, I can't do all this. I just can't. I gave you the logic. Can you at least say in text chat whether or not the logic, do you get the logic? Do you understand fundamentally, like, what I'm getting at? How you should be weighing these values out all the time? Like, because I genuinely, like, because we could even include Mario Shop in this. Like, why I said this is a complex equation is because technically there's a whole factor that we're not even including in the honor shard shortage that you have, which is that technically you could exchange for blue crystals. Like, so those 3,800 packs, if you're going to spend any money in the next couple of months, I want you to private message me. I'm actually not even fucking kidding. Any money that you're going to spend in the next couple of months, I want you to private message me before you buy whatever the fuck you're going to buy, so I can take a look at it, see what your account needs, and tell you where to put it. Because there's fundamentally, I cannot break all of this shit down for you without, like, a 2.5 hour video. And even that might not be enough, because this is shit that I have just kind of processed and developed over 1.5 years of playing the game, right? So, and I'm not trying to be, like, brash with you or quick with you. I really wanted to put as much time into this as I can, but I just want you to understand that, like, fundamentally what we're talking about right now is not a simple equation. It's a complex compare and contrast. You're constantly taking one thing and comparing it to another thing. And in your situation, because you're so short on honor shards and so many of the fucking materials, you fundamentally are going to have a harder time than most people accomplishing some of these tasks. If you were trying to do it like this. All right, you need the farm time. Your farm time is more important than anything. Can I make an honest to God recommendation? Actually, after looking at all of this, can you go take another look at your quick look at your roster? I actually think, as crazy as this sounds, I really do. I actually think with the money that you put in, the $400 that you put in, you would have been better off getting more 1445s to 1490s. And then farming the Chaos Dungeons daily. And it sounds fucking batshit crazy, but it's really not. Like, I actually really do believe that your account's progression would have been way better if you'd taken that $400 and invested it into your lower half of characters. And then played the shit out of them. And fucked the raids. Like, played the shit out of them. Because you're a whale, you could just buy the gold. You'd actually make more gold weekly than somebody at the top end. Like, take somebody at my stage of the game, right, where they're doing akkan, triangle, all that good stuff. If I do all of my raids and collect all of the gold, I think I can make about 100k gold a week, right? It's really not that much. If you, right, took $100 a week and put it into gold, you would get more gold than I get at the top end for no time investment. So that $400 that you spent could have been 4 weeks of gold without doing any fucking raids, which would have given you enough time to do these characters unrested, fundamentally giving you more of those materials and honor shards that you need in the long term. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So that's why I'm trying to say this is when people don't get time value, is that it's small little changes like that that completely change your progression. Is understanding that sometimes doing something on your account that you've just been doing for months isn't necessarily a good idea anymore. And that's why often what you'll see is I flip phases. Right now, Guardian Stones are at like 98 gold. So right now, I'm actually better, instead of doing my Chaos Dungeons, which I still do, but instead of doing Chaos Dungeons on alts, I'm better off letting my alts rest right now and making sure that my Guardian raids on my main 6s are always done, because it's bringing me better value than if I was to do the Chaos Dungeons rested. Whereas when the Radiant Stones crash back down to 40 or 50 gold, then I will be flipping my playstyle again into where I'm putting more time into my alts Chaos Dungeons than I am putting into my main Guardians. Does that make sense? Kind of, right? That was like a kind of. Fucking. We're learning fucking Morse code here. But all right, we got to check out one more character. Go to the scouter, because I got to see if you have anything on this character. Because really, your goal should be to get this character and that character to 1540. And since this character's already at 1530, I'm no longer going to do the extreme math of getting it to some crazy thing like 1580. We're just going to see if we can get him to 1540, which is your next threshold. And this is what you need to be doing. You need to just be trying to get to those next thresholds, okay? See, this is more reasonable. But even still, that 60,000 honor shards doesn't even make a fucking dent in this. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. But again, we only spent 7,500 of your royal crystals of the 48,000 total that you got. So realistically speaking, we probably could still make a dent in this. Like, I'm basically saying you probably could have got another character to 1540 or more. Especially, like, that character that's at 30, right? Let's take a look at that character. Yeah, the character that's at 30, if you had taken that money and put it into that character, you could already have them at 1540 and they'd be farming, and now you don't touch them for the next couple of months, right? Yeah, so this character's in just as bad of a place as the other character. You need to farm. You have a month of farming in front of you before you even touch these characters. Like, you genuinely can't. If you're like, I don't know how big your dick is, right? Like, if you have, like, you're making $5,000 a week to $1 million a week, then yeah, I mean, honestly, like, we can have a different conversation right now, and I could actually get you there immediately, right? But if you're a reasonable human being and you can only spend, let's say, anywhere from like $100 to $200 a month, and even if that's a lot, then no, you can't. You need to spread your money out properly, like what we're doing, and take advantage of these small little opportunities. And you need to play the farm time. And since we know that you're going to be farming 40 hours a week playing the game, I think that's the most important thing for you to lean on. So, circling back, because again, I can only do so much math so fast. We want 6 characters at 1580 eventually. To tackle this goal, there's 2 fundamental things, or 3. There's a bunch of fundamental things that we're going to say. So these are the things that I need you to remember, in addition to everything we just talked about. But I need you to remember these things if you want to just go no brain into this and listen to my advice 100%. If you're going into this and you're just listening, 1, stop honing the fucking Sork, right? Just stop. Stop it. Stop it. Keep building materials on her. If you could get her to 1600 now, you can get her to 1600 in 2 months, okay? It's always the same logic. And what that means is that all you're doing is giving yourself more time to farm the bound materials, and since you're a fucking whale anyways, you could always buy the gold at the end stage anyways, right? It doesn't matter to you. So stop honing her. Stop it. You get the set on the Sork. Make sure you're doing her Kaingil hard and her Khan hard, or her Khan normal, right? Make sure you're getting those done, because her content's important because we just established that playtime is more valuable than anything, right? 2, the Scrapper and the Slayer, you stop honing them as well. You stop honing them until they have enough materials to make it to 1580. And I would not wail for that. I just wouldn't wail for that. Based on what we're looking at on max roll, it's just the value's not there. It's just not. Does that mean that there's not better does that mean that there's not better value in buying what you bought with the honor shards? Yes, it's better than buying it off the market. Does that mean that it's a good value to try to do that constantly? No. No, it's not. Those shards and stuff that you just got, that I just had you buy, the 5,000 for royal crystals, those are going to be better used on this scouter or on that artillerist getting them to 1540. As a matter of fact, probably the artillerist. I would get him to 1540, not opening all of them at once, but using 1 or 2 at a time to try to just get him to 1540, and then saving whatever you have left of them for the scouter. Does that make sense? Okay, next. So we've covered the Sork, we've covered the Scrapper, we've covered the Slayer. The Paladin falls in the exact same pool as the Scrapper and the Slayer. You do not hone him, other than free taps. You can use the free honing taps, right, because they're fucking free. The ones that you get from like the raid materials. You do not hone him until you have at least 2,000 Marvelous Honor Stones. And more importantly than that, because of the Honor Shard cost, until he's got at least 1,000,000 Honor Shards. And I'm really not kidding. Like, you literally do not touch him until you have anywhere from 800 to 1,000,000 Honor Shards. And that's terrifying. I know that number seems like it's bigger than it is, but that's like a month worth of farming. I promise you it's like a month worth of farming. There's all kind of little idiosyncrasies that you can do along the way too. If you're going to be whaling, again, every time you go to spend money, send me a private message and we'll talk about what you should be getting at the time you should be getting it. Fundamentally, it's probably going to be Honor Shards for the foreseeable future. And the reason is because if we go back to your market real quick, is Honor Shards were the only things that are going to have real value. Because if you go and you take a look at like the Honor Shard, the English. Go take a look. No, screw those for a second. Go take a look at the Leapstones, right, and the reds and stuff. We already did the red value. We showed that the red value in the Royal Crystal Shop is shit. Now go look at Leapstones. Marvelous Leaps. Marvelous Leaps. Those. Your Marvelouses are actually a higher price than ours, but click on those. Alright, now we need, it was 9,900 of them, so just type it a full stack. Let's see how much a full stack costs you. 350k gold. Holy shit. Okay. Well, let's hope you don't need that many. But, again, the value here is better than getting it through the Royal Crystal Shop. Like, if you go and let's just type in, yeah, like 100, 3,500 gold. Now go to your Royal Crystal Shop and look at some of those packages again. I think actually it was 125 was one of them. Right? Now, find a pack with fucking... No, find the cheaper packs. Always go with the cheaper packs. The higher packs are always less value. So you got 50. Yeah, no, this isn't even a discussion. This isn't even a discussion. Go to your exchange again, your currency exchange, and do 4. It'll be 4 of them. 11k. Now go back to the market and see how much you can get for 11k. Your market. I know this is a lot, but this is kind of what you have to do if you want to be efficient. Now do 11,000 gold worth. So times 4. You could probably do 4. Yeah, 350. Fuck it. 11,000 gold. So you can get 350 of these off the market compared to the 50 that it's going to give you out of the Royal Crystal Shop. Do you see the thing? Do you see what I'm trying to get at? So you're better off taking those Royal Crystals, exchanging it for gold directly, and buying this shit off the market. Do you kind of get this? Is this making sense? So with that, I'm going to be honest with you, with that $400, if we broke it up correctly, other than the Honor Shards, you probably could have got those other 2 characters to 1540. I'm not kidding. Actually, I'm dead serious. Just by buying the gold. You're actually better off just buying gold right now. That honestly, every time that you go to buy something from now on, every time you spend $100 on this game, I'm probably going to have you take 50% of that Royal Crystals and save it. Don't touch it. You leave it or use it towards Honor Shards. And 50% of it is going to go straight into gold. I wish I was kidding, but I'm actually not. And we can even try to play the market, right? Quote, play the market, where we basically wait for the high points in the Royal Crystals where it goes up to like 2,900. Like as we get closer to Voldice, we're going to see the blue crystal prices go up, more likely than not. And we're going to reach like not a peak, but a higher point where you could basically trade your Royal Crystals for more gold than you can trade for right now. So back to your character select, because I want to sum this all up. Because everything we're talking about, like I said, there's way more to this. That's the scariest part, is that I'm not even scraping the surface of this. Like, that's what's terrifying, is like, again, this was a year First off, this isn't all my knowledge. This is my knowledge and a lot of my friends and a lot of the people that we've played with knowledge, some people that don't even play anymore. But in addition to this is a year and a half of development. It took us a year and a half to get to this mindset, to get to the point where we're understanding this stuff at the scale that we're understanding it at, right? And I'm trying to throw all of this information at you at once. And I'm saying this not in a insulting way, so please take this with a grain, but in a way that all of this is mind-blowing to you. All of this is epiphany to you. You're like, holy shit, never looked at it this way. So unfortunately, because again, this is the problem that I've had. A lot of the elite players will argue this shit with me for days because they have a fundamental at the baseline. Their brain has been developed and designed around a certain play style, and they can't see this. And because they're fighting it at every turn, they can't, at a fundamental level, build good habits from the bottom up because they genuinely don't understand the time value at the very bottom level of it, which makes it always into an argument with them. And that's why they're always fighting with me on this shit, because they just fundamentally don't get these concepts. You right now are at a point where you're getting the concept early on, but the problem with that is we've now built the fundamentals, and if you get the fundamentals, it'll lead towards greatness for you in the future, right? Because you'll fundamentally get everything easier now, and your progress will be better now. But the problem is that with those fundamentals is a complex equation that comes from it. Yes, you get the fundamentals, but then every step beyond that, there's a part of the game that actually affects, and a part of the game that it changes, or a way that you play the game that changes. Like I said with the Guardian Raids versus Chaos Dungeons things on my main account, each step, it's like I gave you the border of the puzzle, and now I'm giving you pieces that help you make the bigger picture, right? I'm giving you one piece at a time, but the problem is we're not working with a 5-piece puzzle. We're working with like a couple 1,000-piece puzzle, especially now that they're introducing elixirs, legendary skins, transcendence, and all this other bullshit into the game. So now that they're introducing a 5x3 plus 1 and level 10 gems and card sets, and this equation's only getting more and more complex. Now, granted, for me, it's not as bad, but even me, like, I've taken 2-3 months to come up with my plan video to release to the public, to show you guys, like, what I'm even thinking about doing in the next coming months. And I finally just came to a conclusion on what I want to do. And it took me 3 months to figure this shit out at the top end. And I'm somebody who genuinely understands this, not to, again, brag, but I understand this shit better than most people do. And it's taking me forever. So I just want you to understand that this is probably fucking overwhelming as shit in some ways. And that's why I'm trying to simplify it the best I can. But fundamentally, and there's a lot of people that are going to say in the comments on this one, they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to do this much planning for a game. And, you know, fundamentally, at the end of the day, if you don't want to do this much planning for a game, that's fucking fine. You don't have to. But you're going to take hits here and there because you didn't do this much planning for the game, right? And it's not that much planning when you get the fundamentals of it, when you understand that you can just do what I just did. You go into the cash shop, go into your Royal Crystal shop, look at the market, boom, what's the better value? What do I need right now? Ratios. If you had 1 million honor shards, I would never have had you just go and buy those honor shard packs. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take the notepad off the fucking page because it's not really needed at this point. If you had 1 million honor shards, I wouldn't have had you buy the honor shards right there, because that isn't what your account ratio needs at the moment. I would have had you probably get all of the gold royal crystals, or all gold with the royal crystals, and then go buy reds and leap stones. Does that make sense? Right? Okay, so my brain, like, hurts. I'm not gonna lie. This is hard. This is hard because you're in a position that I'm happy that we did this, because you're actually in a position that nobody else is in. Which is actually fundamentally the truth of every person's account that I kind of look at for the most part. And usually I can take a look at it, and it's fucking fast. I can figure it out fast, and that's usually because I've done this so much. But you are genuinely in such a weird place. Like, it actually looks like you stopped playing the game for a while. Like a very long time, actually. Because you just have characters that are parked in weird places. Or like you said, you play a lot. And I'm like so confused at how your roster ended up in this position. Like, was the Gunlancer one of your main characters at one point and you backseated him? Like, is there a character here that's sitting on a shit ton of honor shards? Like, or, because you can't fundamentally play as much as you said you play and then not have a big pool of honor shards on at least one of these characters unless you quit at some point. Does that make sense? And that's why people hate me, because I point out the RMTers and the people who cheat, because they fundamentally don't follow these ratios that we're talking about. I understand the math so fucking well that I can look at somebody's account and say, look, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make sense for you to have this big pool of materials here, but not have a pool of materials that kind of matches along with it, and then say that you have a ridiculous amount of playtime. It just doesn't add up sometimes. And essentially, when I'm looking at your account, that's what I'm seeing, is that There's fundamental variables here that just don't calculate. And it's not me saying that you RMT'd. That's not what I'm saying. As a matter of fact, if you did, I think you'd be further ahead. I'm saying that I think you quit. It's actually obvious to me that you had to have taken either a large break or you're spending of your 40 hours a week, fucking 35 of them on raids getting jailed or something. Because I actually cannot find, or you deleted characters. You are missing a chunk of materials that I just genuinely couldn't find in all of the characters we just swapped through. Because none of them have bound mats. So I have no idea what the fuck you've been doing with your playtime, I guess is what I'm saying. And that's not me being rude. I'm trying to say this in the nicest way, because you are missing a chunk of materials that you just shouldn't be missing. Again, unless you took like a massive break. Let's go ahead and take a look. Yes, I quit for 7 months. No, when I benched the Gun Lancer. Yeah, okay, so see that. Look, I didn't even read your message, and you're going to see that in the video later. I didn't even click on your messages. I was still looking at your screen. You're going to go, and you're going to see this later, that I just clicked on it, and I guessed this shit before looking at it. And again, this is why RMTers fucking hate me, and bussers hate me too. It's because I can take a look at their results and say, you're full of shit. Essentially. The same way that I just took a look at your thing and said fundamentally something here is wrong, and if I'm going to guess at what's wrong, it's got to be one of A, B, C, D, or E, or F, or G, right? So yes, this makes sense. This makes 1,000,000% sense. You taking a 7-month break makes so much sense because you're missing honor shards, which is fundamentally like the core value. But you have a lot of the other materials, which makes sense because ratios, again, you farm the other materials relatively fast by doing any type of fucking content that you do in this game, and the events give it to you like hotcakes. The honor shard gap makes more sense now. So again, back to your goals, and I'm sorry that we did this. Sork, do all of her content as religiously as you can. Don't hone her. Scrapper Slayer, same concept. Don't hone them. I would argue that on the Scrapper Slayer, because you don't care about gold, you don't need to do anything that doesn't give you marvelous leaps, meaning pretty much hard brow and Kyangil. That's basically all you're going to be doing on them. You don't have to go do Clown, because Clown gives you the old materials, right? Same thing with the Paladin. Now, for the Artillerist and the Scouter, unfortunately, they're in a weird place where you kind of same thing, but they can't do Kyangil, so they're not getting a lot of materials from what they're doing. You need to, your number one priority is you need to get that Scouter out of that spot. So honestly, that's where I would probably use those Honor Shard packs. Not even on the fucking Artillerist. And I'm not saying use all of them, use as you need. And get the set. Don't just hone one piece all the way up to 20. Don't be an idiot. Respect the natural order. Because that's, again, you're going to be farming over the next 4 months anyways, or next couple of months anyways, so it doesn't make sense when somebody pushes one piece all the way up. It just doesn't make any sense, because you're going to be farming more materials, and you should try to get as far as you can, one tap at a time per piece of armor, like each piece going up one, because your current pool of materials will get you further by doing that right now, and since you're going to be farming anyways, you will get the materials you need later to then push those other pieces back up further anyhow. I don't know if that makes sense. But like people who push their weapon to 20, it just doesn't make any sense. There's no logic behind that. Because you're using... The game has a natural progression order, right? And when you push something... Like right now, we just got a con, right? Let's say the week 1 of a con or week 2 of a con, if people were getting their weapons and they're pushing it to 20, why that doesn't make any sense is the game developers designed the leaps in materials required based around one level at a time. Which means that they weren't expecting you to go for a plus 20 of any of those pieces until like 2 months after a con came out. Does that make sense? I hope so, because that's actually a fundamental problem that almost every player in this game still does. Even the top end, like Zeals and them, even these Korean players, they make this exact same mistake. Granted, for them, it's different because they're like whales on a level that I can't express, but some of them aren't whales on a level that I can't express, and they still do these things, and they fall into these traps. And the reason I'm saying it again is, just to really recap it, is the game has a natural progression that they expected you to follow based on the time played, right? People always forget time value. They're expecting you to play for the next 4 months. So by doing by putting all of your current materials into one piece, you're basically hurting or setting your account's progression back, or your character's progression back, that 3 or 4 months. And then people always come back and they'll argue. They'll be like, well, then I'm going to farm it and I can level up the other pieces. That's true. It's true. But again, you could get more eye level right now rather than later. I have one friend, right? And I love him, but I'm in an actual argument with him in PMs right now because he did something similar to this, where he took his character and the first 2 pieces of a con that he got, he brought his character up to 16 with it. Which means that he's spent a good pool of his materials already. He had like 3,000 Radiant Leaps. They're already all gone. My 3,000 Radiant Leaps that I have right now on my main character, because I'm waiting until I get every single piece of a con, is not only going to get me 1,600, but I'm going to have a significant amount of them left over. Does that make sense? Okay. It's those fundamental little concepts that make a massive difference. So again, back on the recap of the goals, because we're going to end this with you, and then I'm going to jump into the next player. Sork content needs to be done. All content relevant to it, right? Because you don't care about gold, because you're a whale. All the content relevant to it. And you get more gold out of your Chaos Dungeons. I'm going to say it like it is. And try to do the Chaos Dungeons. If you have extra time, just go do rested Chaos Dungeons on alts. They're always going to have value. Same thing with the Slayer, Scrapper, and the Paladin. All of them, you're going to do their content religiously if you can, the content that applies to them. Your goal honing wise is going to be to get the Artillerist to 1540 and the Machinist to 1540. Those are your two honing goals over the next 2 weeks to a month. And again, every time you spend money, PM me, and I'll tell you where I think your account can use it at the moment and where it's going to get the most value, okay? But also, if you just fundamentally understand what we just did with the Royal Crystal thing, comparing the shop to the market, to the Royal Crystals, to the Blue Crystals, to the Mari, if you understand that concept, because we didn't even do Mari shop, but technically I should have had you do the Blue Crystal value for the Mari shop as well when we were having this discussion. I didn't, because again, it's just another complex part of the equation. If we had talked about that as well, if you understand the fundamentals of what we talked about of compare and contrast, then you could have just compared and contrasted stuff in the future on your own without asking me what to spend your money on. But I actually really do recommend, because of how complex this equation is, until you get this stuff a little bit better, every time you spend money, just ask me. But actually, I really do think I can simplify your process, because you're fundamentally short honor shards, and we could buy all the materials off the market for cheaper than you can get them through the Royal Crystal shop. I actually fundamentally believe that you should just do a 50-50 split. So every $100 that you spend, 50% of it should go into getting your honor shards for the characters somehow through the Royal Crystal shop or the Mari shop. Okay, just make sure you check the values out and see if it's worth it for you. Or actually, we'll do that real quick. And 50% of it should be going into raw fucking gold. So you can just buy the reds and the blues and shit that you need. And the leaps that you need. I do want to check one more thing, and then we're going to end yours, and I'm going to go to the next player. I want you to go back to the Royal Crystal shop, and I want you to go to the Mari shop. I need water. Also, give me a second. Okay, so scroll back a page. We gotta find a page. No, go previous. Again, yep. All right, that one. No, we'll use the 291. Yeah, I mean, they all apply to this logic, but we're gonna use this one. You get 20 large bags. I need to pull a calculator out again. We're gonna X out of this. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, is it because I'm streaming it? 1 second. Okay. It won't let me X out of it. That's fine. This will be fun to fuck with later. Okay, so 20 times, I think it's 1,500. Or actually, just, no, we don't even have to do this. Just do me a favor and go see how much 291 blue crystals will cost you. Yep. So I think it's like three packs. Close enough. Close enough. Just, I don't feel like doing more math. 9,000 gold. So now we're going to go back to the regular shop and see how many pouches you can buy for 9,000 gold. Nope. There you go. So 15 pouches. So this is a worse deal. You're better off getting the Mari shop. You get an additional 5 pouches through the Mari shop. So even doing that way. So like basically why I'm saying this is that you spent 5,000 Royal Crystals and you pretty much bought up all the honor shards that were even in the market. Now there was one more pack. Go back to your Royal Crystal shop. Right. There was one more pack. So if you spent $100, right, go to packages. No, packages. Or you spent 400, right? So the reason I'm saying this is, like, if you spent, let's just say 200, what I would have recommended grabbing is that 500 pack right there. I would have grabbed all of those because we already proved that the value was here between the reds and the honor shards. The rest of it's just extra. The honor shards alone covered the value. And then the other ones that you already got, the 500 pack that you already got, I would have gotten those. I would have gotten these. And then I would have probably taken, I think that was 7,500 if we did it that way. You would have had like 4,500 left. I would have taken that 4,500. I would have put it into raw gold. And then I would have taken the other $100 that you got. If instead, now remember you did 400, we're just doing 200. I would have taken the other $100. I would have put all $100 of that either into raw gold, 1, or 2. See that 3,800 pack? I would have either put it into all raw gold, or there's that 3,800 pack to the next, yeah, that, because that comes with 1,000 blue crystals. So this actually might have been probably your better option in some ways. Not because of the leap stones, but more or less because of the arrays, the crystals, and the shards. Now, I don't know that. We'd have to do the math for it. I'm not doing it. You now know how to do it. But essentially, now that we know the Mari shop is better value than buying it off the market for honor shards as well, and since honor shards ratio-wise is your biggest deficit, then I'm basically saying you could have taken $100, put it into these honor shard packs, then you could have taken $100, put it into raw gold, and then that raw gold could have been exchanged for Mari shop crystals, which could have been exchanged for more honor shard packs. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, and that's it. So now I just want you to type out, if you can, what you understood, what your goals moving forward are. Go back to your character select screen, and then, yeah, just type out your goals. You know, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you learned from it, I guess, essentially. And then I'm going to move on to the next player. And I hope I didn't rush this. I hope that you understand this, but we did just spend an hour and a half talking about this. So I hope on a fundamental level that you do understand all of this stuff. I'm actually going to, while you do that, figure out why I can't close fucking Notepad, because it's like not letting me close the Notepad. There we go. Yeah, it was weird. Alright. Don't forget the Sork. But yeah. Don't do your Guardians. Don't do your fucking Guardians. Do your 1580 Guardian unrested on the Sork. Don't do anything below 1580. The value's not there anymore. It's just not there. As a matter of fact, if you're going to do Guardians, here's where the value is there. This is crazy. But I would actually recommend either doing... No, I wouldn't even do Hanamatan. The value's not there, because you do the Guardians to sell the stones fundamentally, right? Because if you're funneling them, it's just there's not that many. You're better off buying it with the gold. Time value again, right? Don't do anything beneath Sonneville for the materials, okay? To sell the materials. I would recommend, because of the new Fate of Embers, or the Fate of Ember concept, I would actually, all of your characters that can do the lowest tier, so go back to the content selection screen and the archway. I would recommend, go to Guardian Raids. I would actually recommend, if you're going to do them, because you have the excess time, go to raid level 4, I think it is. It's actually raid level 5. So that. See how he gives you a Fate of Ember, top right? I would recommend doing this, top right, next to the little silver coin. Those. Because you can get those loot drops from here and get the thousands of gold or the legendary packs. You don't get them from these. That's the lowest tier you'll get them from. Granted, I actually, if you have a character that's strong enough to do Descaluda, go to raid 6, raid 5, raid level 6. I would do Descaluda, because we recently found out that not all of these Fate of Embers are the same. That the one that I'm recommending, the Scorpion, doesn't give you as good a Fate of Embers as this will give you. So if you have a character that can efficiently kind of do Descaludas, like my characters, like I can solo Descaluda on all of my 1490s, so I will when I have the time, because you can get the Fate of Embers. But again, only if you have the time. I still think that you're better off trying to play your main characters unrested. You're in a position right now where your ults aren't bringing you a lot of value. They are from Chaos Dungeons and Gems, but from Guardians, no, not really. As a matter of fact, everything below Sonneville is kind of shit, if I'm being completely honest. You're only doing anything below Sonneville, time value-wise, for the Fate of Embers. If you're doing it for the actual stones, you're kind of screwing yourself right now. There's so many ways to make better gold or get better value in the game than that at the moment. And I actually really do mean that. And I'm sorry if that's insulting to anybody who's been doing Hanamatons and Caligoses and fucking Kundaliniums. Fundamentally, you have been wasting your fucking time. And I mean that. For a while now, actually, too. As soon as the Marvelous Honor Leaps went below, like, 30 or 40 gold, that was pretty much when it stopped being worth your time. As a matter of fact, we can just do the math. I think you get 30 stones from a Hanamatan double rested, right? Go to the market and go see how much 30 stones is. And tell me if you don't think you could go make more gold than that somewhere else on an alt. On a 1445 alt, you could just go do a Chaos Dungeon, is kind of what I'm getting at. 1,000 gold. So you could go do two chaos dungeons on an alt, get a bunch of silver, a bunch of gems, a bunch of materials for a fraction of the time. I guess is kind of what I'm getting at. It's just not worth it. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just not. The value just hasn't been there for a while. Time value. Time value. That's the the problem that again the busters have is they're like, oh, but I make more gold than you do in a week. Yes, you also put 1,000 to 2,000 hours in more than I have in this game. So yeah, you did get more value for more time. That's not efficiency. That's the opposite efficiency. Efficiency is doing less time for more result. That's efficiency, or the same result in my case a lot of times, because I don't actually have more than some of these kids. So back to your goals. Go ahead and type out the rest of it, because I really do got to end this and then move on to the next one. And I'm so sorry if that comes off as rushing and stuff like that. But I mean, we've spent. There's no way you look at the game the same as you did before we started this conversation. I hope not, actually. So I would not, to answer your question, don't invest 5x3 in alts that are less than your main 6. Your main 6, yeah, you need to have it so you can do your content. But the alts that are less than that, I didn't invest in them. I did pay Fion cost at one point for them, but I have always, because I've always believed in a self-sufficient account, I've always sent the jewelry between the characters. At one point, it did cost me Fions, which was a pretty hefty cost, I'm not going to lie. Which is why a lot of the older characters you'll see have legendary gear on my thing, because it was like 5 Fions or whatever it was. But now that it doesn't cost you Fions or gold to just send items between your characters on your roster, no, don't pay anything to gear any characters beyond your main 6. There is no reason. You might have to buy one piece. You might have to buy one jewelry piece or so. But other than that, no, don't pay a fucking dime to do it. As a matter of fact, if you're going to buy anything with gold to help gear those alts up, you buy books. That's what you buy. You buy the 12 books. That's what you go for. Noted, exactly. You don't go for anything but the books. Because again, it preaches to the fundamental strategy that I talk about, which is the more level 12 books you have. People wonder how I get characters geared so easily in my ults. It's because I have so many level 12 books. Every time a level 12 book's super cheap, like Hitmaster or something, I buy it. Why? Because then that means every jewelry piece that I roll on my internal account is more valuable than me. If I have all of the level 12 legendary engravings, which I don't, but if I have all of the level 12 legendary engraving books, that means every single jewelry piece that I roll or look at on the market is more valuable to me. It allows me to shop around a lot more than a player who only has Grudge and Keen Blunt, because they have to look for something that has 3 Grudge and 3 Keen Blunt. I don't have to do that. I can, if I want to, I can swap Grudge out of my engraving slot for Hitmaster and Keen Blunt, and then I can go roll a Grudge Stone, or I can pick 3 different jewelry pieces that have 5 Grudge on it. Do you see what I'm saying? So because of the way that I played the game, fundamentally, I can make more combinations out of more pieces of jewelry, which means that I don't ever actually have to go to the market to buy stuff. The only time I ever have to go to the market to buy stuff is for class engravings. That's kind of where I have a hard time, and it's only because I just don't play the characters. If I was playing like the playtime that you're playing right now, you could just go do the raids, or go do a couple pieces of content, go do an Argos or something like that, and you'll get the jewelry like that. Like, it doesn't take you that long to get it. Will you get a 100 quality, 99 quality piece of jewelry? No, that's just not going to happen, but it's a fucking alt. Why would you do that? Why would you ever gear an alt like that? You shouldn't. I think the minimum for a lot of characters, alts especially, is if the character's maximum is 1800 spec, don't go below 1660 spec. If the character's maximum is 1500 crit, don't go below 1300 crit. You see where I'm going with this? Like, I would only sacrifice maybe 200 of a stat. Like, and even that's kind of really, really stretching it, because you can get such cheap materials or cheap jewelry, but I hope that makes sense. I really do. So, just again, recap your goals. I know you want to keep asking questions, and we can answer these at a different point in time, but I really do have a lot to get done. It's now 4 o'clock. I have work in 6 hours, right? I still want to take another 2-hour nap because I only got 5 hours of it to sleep, and I still have 2 or 3 more people to do this with. So, yeah, honestly, the video is going to be 1 hour and 30 minutes, so, no, thank you. This was actually huge. This was a massive perspective change, so this is important, because you're helping me figure out ways to explain this. You're also helping me see kind of where players don't understand certain aspects of the game. So I really appreciate. Thanks for the subscription. Thanks for subscribing to the YouTube channel and commenting and talking to the community, joining the Discord and being a part of it. I do appreciate it a lot. Thank you for respecting my time and understanding that, like, we got to get through this when we can. I know that you were probably busy and I had you jump in here fast, but it really does help me when I do have a window, if you can just be there, right? So, especially because I don't have a lot of windows. But that's it. Do you have any other quick questions, things that you just fundamentally didn't understand or needed a quick re-explanation of? Okay. All right, so I'm going to end this clip. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is one of many clips that we'll have coming out today, but I'll catch you guys in the next one.